Hey everybody. So we have to understand chemistry. We have to understand the intent of food and where the food is going, the recipient of the food. So when you actually look at the recipe, the food in of itself, the package of data, then you also have to figure out how is that package of data being received and why there's a specific outcome or a manifestation, okay? So I'm going to come from the standpoint of somebody who is breaking down all of the recipes and the ingredients of the recipes. Hey, Mai Huang. And they're just like, well, if lactic acid is good, if fruit sugar is good, or fruit is good, we need sugar. We need, I don't know, other types of minerals, let's say in the fermented ethanol, because that's vinegar, is fermented ethanol. There's minerals in that too, because everything can be broken down in minerals. All right. Okay. So let's compare kombucha the way it is, like fluoride. Okay. So you just take pure fluoride. It's like, well, if you're going to take pure fluoride, it's like basically acid. Okay. And when people pour fluoride, like straight up fluoride with no other elements mixed in to dilute it, it would eat away at the cement. It would eat away at the metal. Any kind of acid that hasn't been diluted will eat away at any surface or any type of item. Okay, so we understand that everything's about chemistry and balance and chemical reactions and what its intentions and who's giving it and who's receiving it and how they're going to receive it. I mean, there's so many things that go along with what is safe to be exposed to. And that's why we have biotech and the EPA and the USDA and all these different agencies, because they're the ones that will figure out what chemical process that has specific parts per million of this and this and this to be safe enough for the general population. Okay, so let's take it to kombucha for a minute. And I'm going to say why, because I have people in my world, which are great. They're very, very detail oriented, that are more in the smaller picture, which is good because we need to have small picture people, because we have to have a balance of small picture people and then big picture people. Okay, so the small picture people will break everything down, and I can do that too. See, I've already exemplified my ability to break things down to its most infinitesimal element, and then also see the bigger picture of how it actually interacts with the larger whole. Okay, and that maybe is using both right brain and left brain, which is what we're trying to aim for, where we're not favoring one side of our brain over the other. Okay, so let's break down kombucha. Kombucha, especially when you're fermenting fruit or even a tea, okay, it has the properties of whatever you're pairing it with. So with the fruit, it has the fruit sugars and all the different minerals are in that fruit. It has the water and all that. And then it's like a tea or a seaweed or something. It has all the minerals that comprise of that tea leaf and anything else that you're creating kombucha, but also the sugar, because sometimes you'll have not like a fruit sugar, but you'll have like another type of sugar. Let's say it's like, I don't know, tequila or some other type of kombucha type of fermentation process, yeast, okay, or fungus or other bacteria. So you break all those down. So each separately is fine in moderation. But here's the kicker. Your body needs sugar, but you have so much sugar. Sugar eats away at your teeth. So much sugar, it causes imbalances. And guess what? When you have so much sugar in your body and you don't have anything to offset it, to keep it balanced, it not only feeds the candida, the yeast in your body, but it also produces lactic acid too. Your body becomes acidic. And this is where the people who are all into like the pH and the alkaline and all that stuff, they're trying to now avoid the sugar and bring in more alkaline stuff so they can avoid the lactic acid and try to control their symptoms that way. I know what they're trying to do, but it's not going to work. Okay. So when you take the actual recipe of kombucha, you're bringing in so much sugar, whether fruit sugar or regular sugar, and then you're bringing in lactic acid, that it's an acid. So you have two elements or compound elements that have an acid type of interaction with what it's interacting with. Okay? And then you have the water, which is the carrier force. You have other minerals, but the predominant elements, the chemical reaction chemicals, the elements, the compound elements, is the acid in the sugar as well as in the lactic acid, which is a byproduct of lactobacillus. Okay? So this is why you have to understand that it's about chemistry. What are you putting together? And then how is it affecting your body? Because yes, you need sugar. Yes, you need lactic acid. Yes, you need fruit and all the minerals. But now you have a body that already has imbalances. It has sugar imbalances. It has lactic acid imbalances. And it has also a fungus, which is yeast, that your body needs that feeds upon, excess minerals as well as sugar. Okay? So, so now a person like I did was drinking massive amounts of kombucha. It wasn't only the sugar that weakened the top part of my tooth, but it was also the interaction, the chemical interaction with the lactic acid that did that. So even though it's a probiotic, and everyone's like, oh yeah, probiotics are great, and you see like Plexus, and you see all these people trying to sell you a supplement or a pill or a shake that's all probiotic, and probiotic is like the end all be all. But what happens is when you take it in large amounts, especially in a kombucha form or an apple cider vinegar form, because apple cider vinegar is fermented ethanol that's paired with apple sugar and apples. But fermented ethanol is like used in gasoline, and it's a very strong chemical compound, element that is carcinogenic in large amounts. Now, I've had vinegar in my salad dressing in small amounts. It's like minerals. But when you're taking kombucha, you're taking acid in the kombucha and the sugar and in the apple cider vinegar with all of that, those minerals that are highly condensed on a body that's already imbalanced. Okay, it's like you're taking it like as if it were water, because your body needs water, your body needs oxygen. But when you're taking those conglomeration of elements that really in large amounts, it will actually cause imbalances. You're now going to cause even more issues. So this is why certain chemical compound elements, chemical processes will work against you, even though individually they're great. But when you actually put the chemistry together, that's the bonding, that's the cross-functional communication that works great in one instance, but can also be too much of a good thing. Okay, and that's one of the biggest things, the hardest concepts to get across to people who are very, very detail-oriented, smaller picture type of thought process, because hold on, I got Jesus, Jason. Sorry, sugar. Jason. Jay. Okay. So, God. Anyway, sorry. So yeah. So when you get, so chemical processes, they're great for certain intentions, but you have to understand what the chemistry, because the chemistry, what chemistry is cross-functional communication. So when you guys, so I'm going to liken this to jobs and to team building. So each individual person is great by themselves. They have skills, they have abilities, they have strengths and weaknesses and all that stuff, right? And then you put a bunch of different people together. Now you're looking at the chemistry between the people, okay? And some chemistries are more toxic than others. That's the same thing with the elements and with the what comprises in a recipe. So when you have sugar and lactic acid and sugar, lactic acid, and then minerals, that is a toxic chemical process. It's toxic chemistry, no different than putting 3 people together who have major issues with each other. It's a toxic chemistry. You've seen offices where people don't get along. That's no different because it's impacting the company adversely. Okay? That's like a kombucha on a body. Now, in small doses, a kombucha is okay, but then you need to be drinking the J juice. But I don't want anybody doing kombucha really on the protocol. There is no kombucha on the protocol. But now once you get healed and sealed 100%, for the most part, kombucha in small amounts is okay, no different than eating a dessert. Okay? So you got to look at what recipes are is basically chemistry. And this is what's in cooking. This is what's in just everything that has an intention. And it's no different than putting teams together in companies. You have toxic recipes of people, and then you have very cohesive, good cross-functional communication between people. That's called chemistry. And then you have the biochemistry. How does all the biological stuff goes on in your body, the chemical processes, then what does that project and manifest? Okay? So then let's bring it right again back to the kombucha. Kombucha versus Jilly juice. Okay? Kombucha versus Jilly juice. Because when you think about the kombucha, and I think Chris Nicholson said that the kombucha burned his stomach. Yeah, because all that lactic acid and the sugar acid was killing him. Okay, so the kombucha would not fit within this model because there's no salt in this model, in the elemental composition of the human body. Kombucha, because even though, yeah, there's a lot of probiotics, a lot of lactic acid, you're putting way too much lactic acid and you have way too much sugar. It's overriding the electrolytes. You're not getting what's missing is the salt. Okay? And then you already have then yeast in the body, and that feeds off the sugars and the minerals and all that stuff. So recipes are basically chemistry and how that impacts your biochemistry. Okay, and so kombucha and apple cider vinegar, when you actually break it down and break it down to the level of where I just did, where it's almost like chemistry in people, and you put them in team building situations and they're not meshing together, it's like a kombucha on a human body. It's already at a deficit, already imbalanced. Okay, so every individual portion of a recipe is great by itself, but when you put the specific ingredients together, what is it creating? And then you see, yeah, some teams are not creating anything because they can't, because they're always arguing. You've seen me where I've argued with people and then we don't make it and then we go our separate ways. That's a toxic recipe of chemistry, of biochemistry. And then you see me working with the current group that I have right now, the people that I have in my inner circle. You're seeing us get along, playing tennis, lobbying the ball back and forth, in your court, in my court, your court, my court, and it's a game. And then we're creating some beautiful poetry, and we're having revelations up the yin yang. That's a good biochemistry. That's a good chemistry. Okay. Honey, I'm on Facebook Live. But also, yeah, you were going,
Did I come through that while you were on Facebook?
Not here, but it went through the stereo where it's so loud it was bad.
Well, the neighbor came out too.
What do they say? Yeah, you better knock it off. You need to go far away, baby. All right. When you do that. All right. Anyways. Boys and their toys, I tell you what. All right. So anyways, so just understand chemistry and biochemistry is so important to understand. So when you have ingredients, the chemistry in alcohol, it works against you. When you have the chemistry and the ingredients in certain foods with a body that already has a deficit, it's going to work against you. That's why the J-Juice protocol is the way it is, because it takes into account the chemistry that you're dealing with and has a specific chemistry that I know everybody is lacking, because everybody is lacking it. Because everybody that does the J-Juice is like seeing the healing. They're like, oh my God, I was lacking this. Well, no duh. Okay. So, yeah, so this is about chemistry and biochemistry, and this is why I want to break it down with the kombucha so you understand how the sugar is another acid base, too much sugar, but you need it, but then too much lactic acid is an acid base. You need lactic acid, but not too much, and why the electrolytes in the cabbage and kale fermented, jelly juice drink is an exact balance of what you need, because you have the salt, you have the sodium chloride dissolved in water, plus then the lactic acid paired with the micro and macro nutrition in cabbage. You don't have as much minerals and vitamins and nutrients in fruit than you would get in cabbage and kale. That's why fruit kombucha, it works against you guys. Okay? And then of course, then too much lactic acid attracts pestilence and feeds pestilence. And this is why I was really adamant last night to make you guys get it, and it kind of triggered some people, and that's okay. But you have to realize this. If you don't realize this, then you don't get the chemistry behind J-Juice. It's chemistry. And I'm just never a chemistry major. I didn't study biochemistry. I didn't study chemistry. But I understand chemistry in the real world, not the stuff that you learn in school. The stuff that you learn in school is learning the basics. And then when you actually study it in a more in-depth level, it's because it's going towards a specific intention. And it's like biotech or some other type of like drug companies or food companies. But learning actually the chemistry of the body with a specific intention is very, very different. And it would go against biotech, because biotech's chemistry is based upon a specific intention. Okay, it's based upon disappearing the healing process so you don't feel anything, so you're anesthetized. Well, when I'm studying biochemistry and chemistry, I'm not studying from that standpoint. I'm studying it from a very different standpoint. So it still utilizes the same platform and the same basics with a very different intention. So when you learn stuff in school, you learn it based upon the market, what the market is wanting, not so much what you're trying to project, because you don't have that capacity yet to project what you think you want. You're basically being told what you need to learn based upon how you're going to get a job out there in the world. So that's why chemistry majors in academia are flabbergasted with my information, because it goes against everything they were taught or been told, because they're going into a field which has a specific intention. And biotech has not been looking at indefinite life. So of course they're not going to have a chemical process that's going to contribute to indefinite life, because it's not even in their purview. So now we flip the script. Join me, guys. Bye.